guess we're doing Promised Neverland chapter 179, compensation. So, I mean, overview of this chapter is basically, I don't know, like the kids make it to America. We find out there's an American branch and multiple branches of the Ratry clan. And after that, we pretty much find out that they play this game of like, oh, is Emma really gone? Is she not gone? Turns out she's still alive somewhere. My guess is Siberia. In the snow. But somebody's found her, and it looks like the kids are making it their new goal or new mission to go find her. So, I mean, that's more or less the overview. My thing is just, I mean, I want Promised Neverland to be over. So I'm hoping that this journey to find Emma is not like an excuse for another 50 chapters and more like an excuse for like 5 to 10 chapters, if at most. Because I'm just like, you guys are already there with the Ratry clan. They seem to have fucking spaceships, so I figure that they can get to places in the world pretty darn quickly. So my guess is, if they're able to locate Emma, they should be able to go to where she is, unless it's like in between the two worlds. Like they should be able to go to where she is fairly quickly.
Right. So my whole thing is like, I'm kind of like a combo of like pissed and curious just because, I get sucked into mysteries pretty easily.
I know. Promised Neverland is doing that to me. That got me too. I was like, you guys are waving it in front of me again. Y'all fucked everything else about this storyline, but you're trying to give me that little nugget of no, keep reading.
But it's like I'm still pissed though overall because what they did is that they literally gave you a little glint into a possible route they could have chose where the promise could have actually been legit. I mean, that thinking, like when you start like reading into the chapter that, oh snap, Emma played the whole squad and like the promise was actually on something, like that whole idea just like blew up, at least in my head, so hard that that's all I wanted. For like those few panels where they introduced that, I was like, yes, 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 yes. Promised Neverland finally did something right. Congratulations to you. And then just a few pages after that, they immediately destroyed that thinking. And that just like infuriated me. And I was like, are you kidding? Like, why? What was the point of that conversation? Like, did y'all really just like, did y'all really just like dangle that in front of us just to snatch it away and slap us in the face? Like, that's cool.
They just presented something and then just threw it on the fucking ground. It's like, oh, here's this nice slice of cheesecake. Nope, it's on the ground now. Get off that, motherfucker. Like, yo, really? Promised Neverland? Like,
why they have to do us that dirty? I mean, like, they literally, like, imagine something that you're just in a situation with no hope, no light in sight. And just like that, you see it. You see the end of the tunnel. And you're like, my God, they really about to do it. Oh my God, they're really about to do it. Just to cut it off. Just to eliminate it. Just I felt so violated. Like
it's a full waste of a chapter. It's a full waste of chapter. If it wasn't for the kids like actually making it to the human world, like this should be a 100% waste of a chapter because they introduced a topic that they immediately shut the door on within the same chapter, like you're saying. Exactly. So it's just like you don't need to read this. It's probably not going to come into play. Besides the fact that they're going to go find Emma. That's it.
Like literally, I think they kind of like jacked that from Stranger Things though too, low key. Like homie just like shows up in Russia, like whoop. Where Emma at? Like if homegirl's anywhere close to that kind of part of the world, I'm gonna be like, they were grasping at straws. They were at the team meeting and said, yo, this last season of Stranger Things were pretty dope. What y'all feel about Russia?
What? Is this just me, or did this like give you I don't know why, but it just gave me Digimon vibes. Like, you remember that? I think it was either it's second season or maybe Digimon Adventure 1. But that moment where they like come back from the digital world and then they're starting to fight Digimon like in the human world. and then you like
Oh, I
find
don't.
out that there's other Digidestin from like America and all that. It's like that, but like not as interesting. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because they were like, oh, all of these kids like got freed in different parts of the world or whatever, which I also think is weird because I'm like, if you drop, first of all, they were dropped in America magically speaking English, no problem. I, I I just have questions about how this was translated, or maybe the Ratry clan knew their language. I don't know, but I just feel like wherever they were dropped, it's going to be very hard to explain how they're able to communicate with the people there, because it wouldn't even make sense for them to teach them that really, unless it makes their brains better in the demon world. So either way, anyways, that's just a random open story question, but it just reminded me of like that scene where I was like, oh dang, all the Digidestins, oh, there's Digidestins from America, but I was also just like, oh, but this is like not as cool as that one was. Just shitty. It was like, oh, cool. There's definitely a lot of kids and possible storylines to follow, and that would have been a great setup if the series itself was actually great. Like
Yeah.
if it was like, oh, it actually went to a point where you cared about these other kids for some
Right.
reason,
Right.
then I would be like, oh, that's a great platform into like another 100 chapters of like, oh, how are the kids in Japan gonna survive? How are the kids in America gonna survive? Stuff
Right.
like that. But I'm not invested in anyone anymore.
Yeah.
And the characters that I have a little bit of investment are just the main ones, which is Emma, Ray, and Norman.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, like they're pretty much like setting everything up to introduce a completely new element to the series. Where considering how they've been going, we're just not invested as an audience to introduce or like be ready for that new element.
yeah,
Because like the whole search for Emma, it doesn't seem interesting for the simple reason that we don't know who would even try to stop him. Like, I mean, it's like, why should that be difficult? And if like the reason it's difficult is because of other people, like literally humans just doing human-ish, then you kind of eliminated what in the first place made Promised Neverland so good. And that was humanity trying to overcome demons. So I mean, like I get the symbolism if they wanted to say, the demons are actually humans because of how evil they are, them like pretty much referencing the real world events going on. I mean, that's all good and all, but I mean, if anything, that should just be a whole new series. Like you shouldn't continue this with Promised Neverland. It should just be something else entirely.
yeah,
So it's like right now I'm just not seeing the interest. The interest would have been, I mean, like they literally introduced again the perfect series finale that would have made this show that literally could have been like at least we ended the last chapter on a highlight. Because can you
yeah,
like I know it would have been perfect if this was the last chapter and they pretty much said Emma played all of us. She self-sacrificed. There really was a promise. You got to give up yourself and maybe something else, and then that would be it. And then if they really wanted to, if they were that thirsty, they could just make a spin-off, just making it Emma in the demon world being the last human. If they made a spin-off, I probably wouldn't read it. I might like want the highlights of it here and there. I probably wouldn't read it. But if they wanted to continue it, fine. But Promise Neverland could then be over. But it's like, nope. And that's it.
yeah. It was one big fuck you. Like
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say besides that. That was like the major point to me of that chapter was the fuck you and
Yeah.
the Ratry. I would call it the branch of Ratrys that
Yeah.
exists in the human world.
Actually, looks like they run in literally everything. I mean, like,
Yeah, which I'm
so,
also like. So I mean, I don't know. I guess they were. I don't even know if I really want to explore this point, but like the Ratry clan kind of like were like, oh, okay, you guys made over. It's cool. It's like a truce. We already have a code for this thing happening, like the promise being broken kind of thing. And my thing is just like from the Peter Ratry side of it, even though they made him look like a goofy at the end, I just don't see why he was against them making a new promise. Because it seems like, you know what I'm saying, they had a contingency plan for the fact that somebody makes a new promise and they're able to cross over. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Like, so I
right.
just go
I mean,
like,
in essence,
my
it was
guess is
just all too easy. Yeah, no, I get
yeah,
it.
and I guess there was probably some form of communication between the two clans, between the worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
like the Ratry clan in the human world and the Ratry clan in the demon world, I'm sure there was some type of communication going on And it's just like so many things just left on the floor with this. Like we're talking about the kids coming back, but then what about the adults? What about the humans that survived from Ratri staying? Because they showed like Ratri had human like servants, and you know what I'm saying. They showed
Yeah.
adult humans at various points in this thing, and we just are just like, well, no. It's just this hand wavy thing. And the kids that were basically test tube babies, you know what I'm saying, just used as meat. What happened to those? Like we just, ooh, we're in the human world now, and you just expect me to just stop asking these other questions. I'm just like, no, just don't know what to say. It just the more I start to think about it, the more I just start going like, wow, this is a really holy plot, like, and not holy in the religious sense, holy as in a lot of fucking plot holes. And I'm just like, what? And then I just go like, because at least the Demon Slayer guy, I felt like he had enough respect to just go, look, I know you guys probably going to cut the check. I know you guys want me to flip this into like a 1,000 chapter manga, but like I'm good. I'm gonna end it. I feel like the Promised Neverland person saw that same check and was like, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna make it work. Because I just go like, no, like just it's not worth. Let it go. Actually, like I don't even get the Peter Pan themes of this. Where are they gonna go to orphanage now? Like Peter Pan
like,
ran away from the human world to go to this other world, or not Peter Pan, but like those kids. They got taken by Peter Pan to this other world to basically be kids forever. So now you brought them back into the human world. Like they don't have any parents.
right.
That you know, like what's they all going to foster care? Like what goes on? Like it's just so many questions. And I'm like, especially if they're coming to modern day today, I would just say y'all better off in the demon world. Y'all were definitely way better off in the demon world than coming here to try and figure out what you're gonna do as kids. Like where are they gonna place you?
Yeah, I mean, depending on like how heavy they're saying like the world state is right now, that's actually a really good point. I mean, wow. Yeah,
Because I'm
that
like,
might
if you
actually
give,
be something to explore.
yeah, if the Rabbit clan chooses not to like, you know, basically help them, all these kids live in a lap of luxury, and basically their whole point is like, okay, we got these kids, and now we're just gonna reintegrate them into the human world, like train them a little bit, give them new identities, stuff like that. If that's their point, then I go like, oh, this dear, it's not gonna work. I feel sorry. Like some bad shit is gonna happen to a strong percentage of these kids. So I don't even see the hope here, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, granted, Ratri Clan's mansion looking on point though. Like if you look at that panel, so like that whole complex looks ready
It
compared
looks
to
like
everything
Gracefield on the
else.
low.
Yeah.
It's looking like Gracefield out here. But yeah. I mean, I'm ready to rate it.
Yeah, same.
I think I was going to give this. Initially, I was going to give this a trash plus, and now, like the more I talked about it and realized the plot holes, I'm very close to giving it a bleach. The plus, if it was going to be a trash plus, the plus was coming from just the fact that like we did kind of like move the story a little bit forward because we ended up in the human world. So like basically the biggest story question has been answered. Like, are they gonna make it? Are they gonna make it? Sure. And then even the part with Emma of is she gonna survive? Is she gonna survive? Technically also got answered. So I'm like, okay, but now the execution of it all was just trash. It's just total trash, and it just leaves way too many on the way too many things on the floor. And I just wish this was the last chapter so I can officially call this trash, sum up all of these plot holes in one. But I feel like they're just gonna keep making me read and hope that I forget about all of these plot holes. It is just way too many.
Yeah.
It's way too many. But yeah, I would say it's somewhere between a strong bleach for the if I add the plot holes in there to a trash plus. And that's saying a lot. Trash plus is a lot.
Yeah. Um. I think I am giving it bleach. I can't get over it. I mean, I feel like they knew. It's not that they said F you to us. If they did it like, and it was just a consequence of where they wanted to go. That's one thing. But I think they purposefully had a guess of what most of the audience kind of wanted to hear, dangled it, and then said F you. Looked us right in the eyes and violated us. I can't get over
Right.
that. I just can't get over that. So, I mean,
That's a fact.
you don't like just violate a jugger and then expect nothing to happen. Like, I'm sorry, but your chapter
That's a
getting
fact.
bleached. Like, it's happening. And then and then again at the very end you glint at a new element that me personally just am not truly intrigued. Like, the only intrigue I have is simply I don't know where you're gonna go with this. Granted, I probably kind of have a decent guess of where you're going with this, and I'm not gonna like it. So both senses tell me that this is just, again, basic, effed up, trashy Promised Neverland. Like, y'all ready? I mean, they literally told us what they could do, how they could make themselves better, and then they said, "No, we're not gonna do it." I mean, how do
Right.
you? I can't get over that. So yeah, this chapter's got to be bleached.
I'm sorry. Okay.